Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. Pretty short show this week. We've not got too many stories, but James, I hear you've got some adventures planned this afternoon anyway.
Yeah, well, no, thanks, Reece. Still actually technically on my holiday. So, yeah, the big news is I will be going to the local safari park this afternoon to check out the animals.
Wow. Is this a famous safari park or just an excuse to get
It's
out?
famous in this part of France.
I won't press you any further. Adam did an excellent job last week, so it's unfortunate we only got the two stories to get you back into the saddle this week, but I'm sure we'll do an admirable job as usual.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, this week we're going to be touching upon AdaniConneX's latest plans, the latest announcements in India, and also news of a bit of restructuring over at Singtel.
Excellent. Do you want to do a Danny Connects first or Singtel first?
Yeah, let's go to India. So, Adani Connects, which is obviously the JV between the Adani Group and EdgeConneX, 50/50. They've announced a new integrated DC park in Vizag in India. So this is going to be like a hyperscale style campus by the sounds of things. 200 megawatts of IT load, I think 300 megawatts of power feed. Sounds interesting. I'd say up to 100% renewables. So India is one of the places in APAC where securing renewables to go straight to a data center park or facility is more easier than other places across the region. They're going to have a skills development center there. So I think, again, we'll see a lot more of these kind of initiatives moving forward, whereby um, developing local talent and things like that are kind of a bolt on to any sort of campus or data center. Um, and for anyone who's unaware of where Vizag is, which I have to admit I had to do a double take, north of Chennai, south of Calcutta, on the east coast of India.
Yeah, I was confused because I was looking at the map and this is not an area that I've seen any developments before. Is there a cable landing station in this area? That's that. So I've seen there's a couple of obviously quite a few cables coming into this coast on different parts of India, but yeah, interesting choice for the location. You've been relatively recently. Any word on this?
No, so going to Chennai in 2 weeks. Haven't been yet. Yeah, I believe there will be some landing stations going in there or kind of supporting infrastructure. Obviously, most of them fall in land in Chennai, and there are a couple planned. I think maybe one or two already in Calcutta. But I would assume that this is part of this whole project because otherwise, yeah, it would seem slightly out of place. But yeah, I think there's going to be the supporting infrastructure, including the subsea cables. Hence why this location was chosen,
So,
or
so
one of the
uh,
reasons.
As AdaniConneX, they have the one site operating at the moment, and then they've got facilities being built in Hyderabad and Chennai, I think. I was just trying to check DC by earlier to go through them. I didn't have time to get into the details of AdaniConneX.
Yeah, no, they've got a number of different projects ongoing. I think their plans to have a gigawatt of IT power by, oh, I can't remember the date. I want to say 2030, but don't don't hold me to that. I think it's 2030. They want to have that gigawatt of IT load up. But anyway, ambitious plans across all of the major metros in India, as you would expect. They are making progress on a number of the projects. So yeah, this is just the latest in um, yeah, quite a rapid growth story for them.
Excellent. Well, Vizag is a new dot to put on the map for me. New new place to live. I hope I haven't butchered the pronunciation there. I just kind of took it as read. So please do do correct us if that's the case. But yeah, congrats to the team at Danny Connects. That's another new development on their India escapades. Um, this Singtel story, James. So we've been talking about this for a while. It's been a not necessarily an open secret, but Singapore is a small place and Singtel is a big company. And this is the official announcement that they are splitting, I guess, in a not dissimilar move to Telin to separate the telco business from the asset owning data center platform. Is that my understanding correct?
I believe so. Yes, so Singtel has spun out a company which I think for the moment is called Digital Infraco. I believe that they're probably going through a rebranding exercise and it's going to have a fancy new name like Nutra DC or something like that in the not too distant future. So as part of this, it's the data center business, obviously, it's the subsea cable business, their satellite business, and Paragon, which I've never actually come across Paragon before, but it's their 5G, kind of their 5G slash cloud offering. So that's all going to sit under this new vehicle, like I said, which is digital infra at the moment. It's going to be led by Bill Chang. So Bill was head of the enterprise business, I believe, and now he's moved over to this new vehicle. So he's been with Singtel for quite a while now, and well established there, and knows all the processes, etc. as well. So yeah, like you said, it's a move which a couple of the other, I suppose, telcos across the region have done, to kind of I suppose, maximize shareholder value and allow the two different business groups to focus on strengths rather than getting muddled with the telco business. So yeah, it seems like a very logical move. Singtel are obviously pretty active in the DC space at the moment with projects. Obviously in Singapore, they've got the Indonesia project, they've got the Thailand project going on, and I think they're looking at a couple of other bits and pieces across the region. So yeah, I think this was a logical progression for the business, and it seems like it makes sense to carve out this piece.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got I think 10 data centers listed at the moment, and that's a reasonably substantial footprint in Singapore, 70 megawatt. For anyone who's not local to the region watching, Singtel are, of course, the Singapore government-owned the national telco. So, yeah, interesting that, as you say, a lot of other entities around the region have been selling off their data centers to private equity. So Singtel keeping it within the business. And I did remember their shares bouncing earlier in the year on some news of their data center business. So it's obviously doing well for them as a business, as you say, maximizing that shareholder value. So yeah, interesting play from Singtel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that kind of brings us up to all of the news stories. We are recording this on a Thursday and not particularly late on a Thursday. So if anyone is announcing a Thursday afternoon story or a Friday one, we'll have to catch that next week. Anything else on your side to cover, Rhys?
Not for me, but I did see you had released a report. Is this with Knight Frank again this time? Or is it the
No,
DC Byte Solar report?
no. Yeah, no. So the second market spotlight report by by DC Byte is out now. We are covering Johor and Batam in this iteration. So the idea is that once a month we'll be kind of hopping around in different interesting markets. So the first edition was Melbourne and Canberra, and this is focusing on Johor and Batam. The plan is actually to cycle them around globally. So the first two are obviously APAC, but next one is going to be London. And I think we're going to be looking at somewhere in the US for that would be the June issue. I think we'll be back to APAC again in July, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so this is just our view on what's happening in these two markets. It's pretty comprehensive. There's hopefully a lot of interesting stuff in there for people who are both familiar with what's going on in those two markets, and also should be able to give a pretty high level and comprehensive view for those not familiar with what's going on there, and gives a bit of the background into what's happening in Singapore right now as well. So yeah, Rhys, I'm sure we'll have the link to that below. Please feel free to reach out if anything that's featured or mentioned in that report is of interest, or if some of the information that we've captured, if you want similar kind of information for anywhere else across the region or globally, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I know your analysts have been running around in all these markets, taking nice photos, visiting all the sites. So I can't wait for the colour hardback edition, which I presume will come at the end of the year with all of the.
That's going to be the 10-year special.
Excellent, nice and leather bound. I hope I'll keep that on a coffee table.
Limited edition, signed by all the contributors. Yes, the ultimate
Fantastic.
coffee book.
Well, I will let you get off the safari park before you get in trouble with your parents. And will you be back in Asia over next week?
Yeah, back Sunday.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you in the flesh next week then.
Yeah, see you, Rhys. Have a good one.